Christmas is in the air, and you know what that means. Meaningful playoff implication games. First off, we've got a battle between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons. Two bad teams vying for the #1 seed in the NFC South. And since Desmond Ridder has returned to the starting lineup, put that back on the table, he has been unbeatable. The Falcons looked much better with him compared to Taylor Heinicke. Now, he's going up against a somewhat good Bucs defense, a defensive line of quality, and that Bucs offense, particularly Mike Evans, have been cooking. But I think this will be a pretty entertaining game with a 1 p.m. window. I'm giving it to the Falcons at home. Some would say better quarterback, certainly a better offensive line. The only way I see the Bucs winning is if in the absence of A.J. Terrell, Mike Evans really starts cooking, puts 150, 200 yards. If that happens, Bucs probably take it. But I'm going to say the Falcons got this one.
I mean, Mike Evans has been balling all season long. Another 1,000-yard. What are we on? We had 12,
Technically,
13?
you can have like 4 screen passes where he gets tackled for a massive loss. Like, we could go backwards here.
That is true.
The season has not ended.
One of the most productive receivers in the NFL. Can't say that so much for the rest of the Buccaneers offense, but they're playing the Falcons, who still are struggling at the quarterback position. Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heinicke, doesn't matter who's in there. It's a complete mess. Game not going to be all that exciting. Two teams that are very up in the air, very mid.
This man hates football.
I think I'm going to go with the Buccaneers. I'm rooting for Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield. Rams headed to Baltimore to take on the Ravens, who have an opportunity to put themselves atop the AFC this week, assert dominance over the AFC with a big win. Now, I know the Rams aren't the greatest team in the world, but with the Chiefs struggling last week, the Bengals, they don't have a Joe Burrow. I know they won. Then you have Deshaun Watson's not playing for the Browns. The AFC is a complete mess. There's injuries everywhere. Trevor Lawrence has a sprained ankle. It's the Ravens' year. They're going to win big this week, assert themselves as the best team in the AFC. And Lamar Jackson, he struggled a little bit passing over the last 3 weeks. He's going to have a great game against this Rams defense.
You really need to stop saying good things about Lamar Jackson, because I can feel the knee injury just creeping up on him. Every time
you're the one saying it now. You're the one putting the bad vibes out there.
You put the bad vibes out there every time you say something positive. Like, you've slowly been building this jinx up for Lamar Jackson. I think he's just going to hit him when he's about to go to the Super Bowl. Last play of the AFC Championship game, he's going to go for a knee and accidentally go down on a water sprinkler and get his lower body blown off. I'll give this one to the Ravens, but keeping it in the NFC, at least half of it in the NFC, well, I guess 200% of it in the NFC, we got the Detroit Lions headed on over to Chicago at Soldier Field to face off against Justin Fields and the Bears. And this game's a little bit more competitive than I thought it was going to be a few weeks ago. Bears beat the Vikings, show some impressive defensive work, and then you got the Lions, who have struggled a little bit down the stretch and whose defense is certainly lacking. I'm giving this one to Detroit. I think there's just such a clear difference in quality of offensive weapons and the quality of quarterback as a passer, but the Bears will make it interesting. That defense will hold them a little bit sound, just a little bit. They're only going to score a cool 24, 25 points on the Bears. Bears will probably put up 15, 16 in response. Give me Detroit on the road in this one.
The Bears have been sneaky. They've been sneaky okay this season.
Not sneaky good, sneaky okay.
Sneaky okay. There's been points where we've seen some bright spots. DJ Moore, in certain games this season, has been spectacular. So I think this game has the potential where we see some things, good things on offense from the Bears. The Lions, on the other hand, defense hasn't been all that great, but I trust their offense more than I trust their own defense and more than I trust the Bears offense or the Bears defense. So I think we're going to see like a 35-21 or 35-18.
Just because I predicted the score doesn't mean you start following suit here.
I didn't even realize you predicted the score.
Oh, you didn't
I
even
had
realize?
that in my head. That's what I was thinking about this game.
Didn't even listen to you. I'm hurt.
Colts headed to Cincinnati. The Bengals, they now have their new quarterback. They don't care that Joe Burrow's injured. Browning, he's the future of the Cincinnati franchise.
Oh, you said something.
Put that away.
I will keep it on the table.
Colts, on the other hand,
respect Gardner Minshew.
Have been very good. So you're going to have an electric matchup between Gardner Minshew, Jake Browning, the Colts offense versus that Bengals offense with Jamar Chase. And I think the Bengals are hot. They're playing at home. Browning is going to lead them to a win and make them one step closer to possibly getting into the playoffs without Burrow.
Get me honest, right now the Colts are a better team because Gardner Minshew is starting quarterback over Anthony Richardson. There were definitely some growing pains coming AR-15's way, and Unfortunately, he will not get to experience those in his rookie year, but Gardner Minshew, conducive to winning. He is a winning player. He has been shackled with the adversity of the Jacksonville Jaguars early in his career, but he has broken those chains, went up to Philadelphia, learned how to win, and is now bringing that winning culture down to Indianapolis. Give me the Colts by about 1 million in this one. Keeping it in the AFC this time, Jacksonville taking on the Cleveland Browns. Two teams ravaged by injury at the most important position on the field. At the end of the day, say what you want about the Browns defense and being in MVP form. They got lit up last week. I don't think they get lit up 2 weeks in a row, particularly if Trevor Lawrence is not playing. If T-Law toughs out the ankle sprain, does miraculous, they might have a shot, but the backup quarterback in Jacksonville, CJ whatever his name was. Beathard. I am unmoved by CJ Beathard. I am unmoved by whatever wide receiver they try out there next to Calvin Ridley. I ain't moving anywhere. Give me the Browns at home.
Put some respect on Parker Washington's name. He did very solid filling in for Christian Kirk in the time that he had a miraculous touchdown catch. Put a little bit of respect on his name there.
Is it miraculous that he got a touchdown? If you're having to say it's miraculous for a standard touchdown catch in the NFL,
it was not a standard touchdown catch. That's not a good
sign for the quality of the play.
You clearly did not see the touchdown catch. Clearly I did.
I was up there tweeting about old CJ Beathard, about how he has 0 game-winning drives in 30 games, thought ESPN was trying to be cute with their graphics. I watched that game, man. Don't try and tell me I didn't watch that game.
Anyway, I'm also going to go with the Browns because we've seen Trevor Lawrence for the majority of the season outside of his past 3 games struggle. And now he's dealing with a high ankle sprain. He was barely able to walk off the field. Why they didn't bring him out on a cart? Who knows?
I mean, the car was broken. We do know. It had a technical breakdown, much like every...
I thought he said they didn't.
A car had
I saw he insisted on
walking out
of the
stadium. We are hearing conflicting reports then, because I heard a report that car had an issue, and that is why T-Law didn't go on it. We will fact check this.
Anyway, it was a pretty amusing scene to see a quarterback limp, it feels like a quarter mile back to the locker room, or however far he had to go.
I like your version of the story better, showing the mental toughness. Oh, I'm toughing through. I'm walking off myself with the help of 2 other trainers. I'm walking off myself. I like your story better.
Trevor Lawrence has got that dog in him.
Yeah, that dog's been euthanized, but...
but he's struggled at points this season, and now he's dealing with that high ankle sprain against the Browns defense. Struggled last week, but it is still one of the best in the NFL. So with that, the fact Christian Kirk is now been put on the IR, he's not going to be playing in this game. I don't have much faith in the Jaguars offense to bounce back quickly this week. I think the Browns, with Joe Flacco, or DTR's back from the concussion, I think they get a win.
Absolutely. Fantastic take there. All right, bring us on to the next one.
Lions headed to New Orleans.
Incorrect. I think that's Indianapolis.
Panthers headed to New Orleans. 2 teams, not very exciting. Lions? I am all over the place. Jameis Winston is in at quarterback for the Saints. And you never know what you're going to get with Jameis. He may throw for 4 touchdowns. He may throw for 4 interceptions. He may do both at one time. Is this the week the Panthers get their second win? It is not. The Saints defense, it's okay. It's solid. The Saints offense, they've got enough pieces. I'm surprised the Panthers have even won a game this season. They have absolutely nothing going on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, when you have the best rookie quarterback who clearly outplays the man who was supposed to be the best rookie quarterback in their head-to-head matchup, which is all I frankly care about, you're going to win that game over the Texans. But I digress. Look, man, the only way the Panthers win this game is with a Jameis Winston disaster class for the ages. Here's the issue. The Saints are just stick Taysom Hill in there if the bleeding gets too bad. By pick number 2, by fumble number 2, Taysom Hill will be getting every single snap at quarterback. And say what you want about Taysom, they're just going to have him run up the middle every time. He will stifle the bleeding. He will make it a low-scoring game. And the Panthers do not win low-scoring games. They don't win high-scoring games, so they can't score.
They won a low-scoring game versus the Texans.
That was a medium-scoring game. They just don't win games. That is the Carolina Panthers' ways, and that's not going to change. Unless a crustacean disaster class takes place, we know how it's going. On to a disaster class of a different nature. Minnesota Vikings, with Joshua Dobbs off a bye week, headed to the Death Star to play the Las Vegas Raiders and Aiden O'Connell. And since that interim coach stuff, they've lost a little bit of momentum, lost their last 2, admittedly to good teams, and the Vikings off a bye. It's kind of the make-or-break moment of the season here. Jefferson's back. Dobbs finally has no excuse for not knowing the entire playbook, and we will see if KOC is going to be able to try out an offense there, which will properly utilize his strength and cover up his let's say, limited passing game. I think the Vikings got this one on the road due to an inferior opponent, but if they don't, season's over, man. Time to pull the plug. Do anything you can. Stick Jared Hall in there. Figure out if you got a potential franchise quarterback in him. But man, this is the make or break game. I am praying for a Vikings victory.
If the Vikings lose this game, they had a few hot weeks in a row where they had a win over the 49ers, and now they're struggling. They lose a pretty embarrassing game to the Bears. So if they lose this game, I'm not feeling good about the Vikings. I'm still picking them to win this game. I believe in Josh Dobbs. That offense is going to have some life injected into it with Justin Jefferson coming back. So I'm picking the Vikings to win. Next game, we have the Texans headed up to New York to take on the Jets. And Aaron Rodgers has just devastated this organization. There's just dysfunction all around. Allen Lazard isn't even playing. Garrett Wilson is the only functioning receiver on that offense. Breece Hall does his thing, but that offensive line is still bad. At this point, it seems like they don't even have a quarterback anymore to operate the offense. Pretty soon, Robert Saleh is going to be taking snaps out there in order to try and save his job because no one wants to do it. Zach Wilson doesn't even want to do it. So I'm picking the Texans to win. I don't care about how good the Jets defense is. CJ Stroud, MVP season.
I'll say this respectfully. I get where Zach Wilson is coming from. I really do. Because he is on a rookie contract. He has been scapegoated by the entirety of the New York media for not being able to function in a playbook and offense designed for Aaron Rodgers. And now he's got to go out there after the city has already been dissing him, after he's been benched for Tim Boyle, who was just cut, and play quarterback. I wouldn't want to go out there either. Part of that's because of the disrespect. Part of that's because of the fact, oh my God, I'm going to get murdered by Will Anderson because my offensive line stinks. You wouldn't want to go get hit by Will Anderson. I don't want to get hit by Will Anderson. And Zach Wilson doesn't want to get hit by Will Anderson. We're all on the same page here. This is not entirely on Zach Wilson. Having said that, come on, Matt. What are we doing here? You think Zach Wilson is going to do anything offensively when he doesn't want to be on the field? Give me the Texans by default. Seahawks 49ers, make or break game for Nick Bosa's legacy. And we know what's going to happen. Seahawks do not match up well against the 49ers at all. That pass rush gets home every single game these teams face each other. Geno Smith sacked in the pocket, brutalized outside of the pocket. The receivers will not get open in time. And the run game, I don't care if it's Walker, Charbonnet, if they bring back Marshawn Lynch, it's not going to do anything. Give me the 49ers by a landslide at home here.
Now here's where you're wrong. The Seahawks last week, they played an elite Cowboys defense, a pass rush that features Micah Parsons. That Cowboys front seven gets after it. And the Seahawks offense, they finally got life. Geno Smith was getting the ball out quickly. DK Metcalf was dominating. And now they're playing a division rival. And that's exactly what's going to happen this week. The Seahawks offense is going to find life once again. Geno Smith is going to keep things rolling, and they're going to get a win.
My counter to that claim is that it was on Thursday Night Football, and we just watched the New England Patriots offense catch live against the Steelers on Thursday Night Football.
So it's something to do with Thursday Night Magic is what you're saying.
I'm saying Thursday night lends itself to terrible defensive performances.
Could be right.
I am right. Anyway.
Denver headed to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. And the Chargers, they are a complete disaster. We thought this is what the Broncos were at the beginning of the season when the Broncos lost 70-20. The Broncos, on the other hand, they've turned things around with Sean Payton. The defense, solid. Russell Wilson, still limited, but they have that run game going. Courtland Sutton looks like he's once again a top 15, I'm not going to say quite top 10, but top 15 receiver in the NFL. He has been dominating this year, so this should be an easy win for the Broncos, but you never know, maybe Russ works some magic and takes him out of the game.
I've got no strong opinions on this one. I think the Broncos are fine. Russ may be limited in his capacity to cook, but that is for the best. Give me the Broncos. On to the most important game of the week, the most important game of the season for the Buffalo Bills. On the road, going to Arrowhead to play the Kansas City Chiefs. And if this team can come together as a one unified force, can execute on the difficult plan they have laid out in front of them, to do the seemingly impossible, to sucker punch a sleeping giant in the face, their season will turn around. But if they are disorganized, if they cannot properly execute their goals, if they go down in a field in Pennsylvania, this is the end of the Buffalo Bills season. They will not win another game. This is the make or break campaign for the Buffalo Bills, excuse me. I think they can pull it off. I think they will come together. I think there is a bit of teamwork, cohesivity, levity in that building right now, which will explode out onto the field against the Kansas City Chiefs. Give me the Bills on the road in a surprise attack upset.
Is cohesivity a word?
Maybe. Cohesivity sounds like a word.
The Chiefs are going to win that one. Patrick Mahomes, I know they lost last week to the Packers. It doesn't matter. They're playing the Bills.
You've said it doesn't matter after every single Kansas City Chiefs lost this season.
That is not true. That is not true. I said I am concerned in our last podcast for the Chiefs heading forward. But they're playing their little brother in the Bills, who they consistently dominate and own. In the postseason, they've lost to them in the regular season before, but I think they're going to bounce back and they're going to win. Now, if the Bills get out to a hot start and they jump out to a lead, it's going to be tough because we know the Chiefs don't have the same offense that they've had in previous seasons unless Rashee Rice truly emerges.
Next game, Sunday night game.
The most exciting game this week between two heavyweights. We got the Cowboys in Dallas, or Arlington, since we say that we're the cities where the stadium's located. At Jerry World, whatever you want to say. Cowboys taking on the Eagles. Eagles coming off of a tough loss, and I am picking the Cowboys in this one. I would prefer neither of these teams win, and the game gets canceled to a weather event or something like that. Eagles secondary, very bad. Dak Prescott has been looking like the MVP. Jake Ferguson has gotten things rolling as a second option to CeeDee Lamb's being the number one option. Brandon Cooks has also been productive. So I'm picking the Cowboys offense in this one. I have faith in them. I don't have faith in the Eagles secondary. And the Cowboys defense, it's good enough to generate a few stops for the Cowboys to win that game.
I mean, there was the rumors that Jalen Hurts was dealing with a concussion. I kind of think he just stinks recently. I'm taking the Cowboys too. It lets me push my narratives, propagate my misinformation to the highest of my abilities. Now on to the first of two Monday Night Football games. This one between the Tennessee Titans visiting the Miami Dolphins. And we're at the point in the season, when you're talking about Derrick Henry in the AFC South, I think it really comes down to the fact that it's not just that, he has good games against them. He has really good games the second time he plays them. He has really good games late in the season when defenses have been beaten down by opposing running backs or himself and now do not want to tackle a 250-pound dude running a 4.5 40 at him in week 14. I wouldn't want to do that either. I think the running game is going to be a much bigger factor in the favor of the Titans than it is the Dolphins, which is strange because the Dolphins have one of the best rushing attacks in the NFL. Having said that, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, what do we even need to say, man? Tua Tagovailoa, potential MVP. Two potential MVPs there. Dolphins offense is cooking the Titans at home in prime time. Give me the Dolphins by 1,000,000.
It feels like the Derrick Henry dominates teams late narrative. He's had a couple good games this season.
He had a good game
but the
last
Titans
season.
Last game, you mean?
Last game.
The Titans run game is not quite what it's been in the past. And the Dolphins, they're the hottest team in the AFC right now, outside of the Ravens, and also the healthiest. So they should win that game by a country mile. Last game, my New York Football Giants playing in New York versus the Green Bay Packers, who just got a massive win against the Kansas City Chiefs. And Tommy Cutlets, Tommy Parm, the Packers are going to be riding high. They're going to think they're going to come in for an easy win. Tommy Cutlets throwing for 3 touchdowns, 250 yards. Saquon's going to go for a cool 106. Have a receiving touchdown. That's exactly what is going to happen. Giants are going to surprise the Packers, surprise the world, and get a win.
The world ain't watching this game, little homie. They are watching the NBA basketball. They're watching, I don't know if the in-season tournament will still be on. They'll watch replays of the in-season tournament over this game. Here's the thing. When the Raiders fired their head coach, we were on an interim. They had a little 2-game hot streak. Then they started losing again. When other teams make changes throughout the year, they get hot for a short amount of time, then back to losing. And this is where it comes back to losing in New York. I don't care how good that Giants defense is. When you got your third-string quarterback on TikTok making videos talking about Italian food, it's not a sign of success. This team is about to fall apart offensively. We might see 3 pick sixes from Tommy DeVito. It will be record-breaking. It will be astounding.
So you hate Italians is what you're saying.
Exactly. The offensive lows that this New York Giants team can get to. Give me the Packers. They're better offensively, much better weapons. I would say arguable in terms of better defense here.
This man is not a fan of Italian Americans or American success stories.
I'm not a fan of people making $1 million a year still living with their parents.
What's wrong with that?
Hey, I don't know, man. Stop being a mooch. Stop making your ma cook your cutlets. Anyway, that has been our predictions for this week. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. If you are a Florida State fan, smash that thumbs down button, and we will see you folks in the next podcast. Oh, and go sign up for Underdog. Go Thicc.